Welcome to another Bitcoin video, and in this video we're going to talk about my latest count, which basically says that we're about to move higher in wave 3 of wave C. Now, in the terms of corrective patterns, wave C should be a complete 5-wave move, and thus far we haven't seen that yet. So obviously this is still early days to be making such a call, but I thought I'd just throw the idea out there in case it gets traction, because like anything, if it's an idea and it starts to sort of look like it has some merit and some positive signs behind it, then it's definitely something to consider. So the problem that I had with this particular account being a CDE pattern is that it just doesn't look right. And I suppose the one thing that was really preventing me from making this sort of count is the B wave, right? The B wave bounce, it needed a little bit of a closer look because everything else would fit in line with a CDE pattern being where it is if this count is accurate. So the thing with the B wave is that, okay, we have a zigzag and there's some internal components here that make it look like a zigzag that's been expanded rather than a 5-wave move, which is what I initially thought it was. But once you take a closer look, you can start to see that there's some interesting things going on there, and it's to do with the internal structure. So if I zoom into that wave there, you can see a couple of zigzags in between. So you've got an initial A, right? And then after that, you've got this move up to here, right? Now, if you wanted to say this is a 5-wave move, well, where's the sharp wave 3 in the middle, right? The sharpest part of this move is basically the end, and there's also a sharp move at the beginning. It's not as long, but that's just the way it is at the moment for this particular pattern, simply because people tend to trade zigzags in general, so they probably would have seen a pullback and traded it up like a zigzag. The pressure put on the wave there made the zigzag extend in that particular way for some reason. So for me, this is the internal part here is a B wave correction. So for example, you've got your A wave to begin. Right, I'll just draw this out so you can see what I'm getting at here. So you've got your A, then you've got an A, B, C, D, E. So the B wave is here, right? So the zigzag extends like this, right? So that there is the reason why I put these labels on. It's just to color code them. B waves orange in terms of AriasWave. So up here you've got the C wave, right? So this to me presents the idea that yes, we had basically a zigzag expanded, and that's why I say that it's a B wave, right? Because where's the sharp internal? See, this sharp part here should have been in the middle if it was a 5-wave move. There's no sharp internal. The midpoint there, right? If I had to have a, what is it? You can actually put the midpoint, right? You can actually go and add the midpoint there, and you can see the midpoint isn't the sharpest and not the middle of the sharpest. Typically that's what happens, but anyway, I digress. That's simply the reason why I chose to label that. Now then we have a C wave, which is a completely weak 5-wave move. Another reason why I wouldn't have, picked that from the beginning, right? A 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, in this case, I wouldn't put the 4 up here. I'd go A, B, C, D, E for 4, and then 5 would be the last move down. So in that particular way, you could also claim that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we had an A, B, C, D, E, but I'm just going to leave it as is for the time being. Just don't want to get into detail on that. So then basically that next move to me counted as a D wave, and obviously E wave being the last move in a correction. With E waves in general, I notice that they tend to start off with a lot of alternation, and they do tend to have less alternation as you get to the waves 4. So in this particular case, you have wave 4, wave 4, and basically, they're shorter in duration compared to up the top, and it seems to skew to the beginning of the move. For some reason, I've noticed this. Instead of having alternation evenly distributed across the waves in the whole thing in total, you tend to get the less to the end of the move, because the end of the move then reverses. It definitely adds a lot of confusion to the mix. For me, it hasn't been easy at all to try and figure this one out, and I could be wrong still anyway. But the thing that makes me look at this particular count as accurate is the way that this move ended, right? So you've got this whole move down, in my opinion, is a 5-wave move. It's a weak 5-wave move that went all the way down to the 0.618 area if you measure it from the top, from the bottom to the top, right? And it's also the same length as wave 1, right? It's actually pretty accurate for the length. It's very close to being the same size. And if I zoom into the 1-minute chart, I'll just explain to you what happened here. So you've got a weak 5-wave move ending in zigzags, right? You've got wave 1, you've got wave 2 there, and you've got wave 1, 2, 3, 4 was sharp, and then you've got a 5, right? So you might think, well, how can you tell that's a sharp correction, right? So if you look closely at this wave, you can see that the first move is a zigzag, right? Once again, you get the midpoint there, and you can see right in the middle, it's not sharp. It's actually a zigzag. You've got an A, B, C, D, E, very small and sharp. It gave me a clue. Now, for us to get a little bit more confirmation, it'd be ideal for us to see a break above that point, right? The end of wave 4, it would be good to see that be broken. So at the moment, we've hit this resistance area. Now, it's not just the trend line that's the resistance here, right? That trend line extends from up here all the way, basically touching the end of wave 4 of wave 5. But that's not the only thing that's there. If you put on the 1,200 period moving average on the 1-minute chart, it's hit not only that trend line, but it's also hit the 1,000 period moving average. On the 5-minute chart, it hit the 200 period moving average, right? And then it gapped down. If you can see it closely there, it gapped down. Normally that means it'll come back to fill. So it looks like it's starting off looking like a zigzag, but this could definitely be just an A, and a B could extend up, right? And then you could just get price start to chop higher before making a move higher. Now, obviously, I'm counting this particular area as area of importance for the end of wave 2, not only because of the weak 5-wave move that's the similar in length to wave 1, but it's also touching the 0.618. And it's also come down as a weak 5-wave move with very clear indications of those zigzags for 1, 3, and 5. So for me to just say, hey, this is a pretty interesting point to go long, Well, those are the reasons. There's a whole bunch of confluence, and there's also a bit of resistance, and it doesn't mean that it won't be broken shortly. So pay attention to that. That's what I've got for you at the moment. And yeah, that's basically my explanation for this particular account. I've spent quite a number of hours looking at this from as many different perspectives as possible. But today, I think it became a bit more clearer that what I was looking at was basically a complete E-wave that wasn't completed last night when I posted that update. And as you can see, from bottom to top, it's a 0.618 pullback. Not that you do that normally because of the expanded corrections involved, but the expanded corrections does indicate there is underlying strength in the market that hasn't materialized just yet, but it probably will very soon. So at this point in time, all I can say is just stay tuned and let's see if we can break the key level there, 82,759, and not break 81,274. Obviously, you'll get good confirmation when we break the top, 88,788, but obviously that's pretty far away to just suddenly put on a trade, and then where would we go from there? So if we just, go back up to the higher degree, the 1 hour chart, we've got what appears to be a 5-wave move here. I mean, it's possible that this is the correct interpretation. It might not be. We might have another sharp correction here for wave 4 that happened. As you can see, as I mentioned earlier, they can be sharp. But at the same time, you've got this giant A and B pattern. To me, a C wave would definitely try to double top this market. Bitcoin can definitely come back with a vengeance. I've seen it happen many times. So it'll probably knock out a lot of short positions at this point if we did go back up to that level. But knowing Bitcoin, I wouldn't put it past it to try it. I'm not going to put a target on this at this point. I think it's definitely good to watch and see what it does first. Even if it even does anything like what I'm saying. All right, we don't even know yet, but it seems likely that that could happen. So hopefully we have a better update for you soon with a bit of confirmation. Thanks for watching.